All right, everyone, I am trying to connect. Trying to get this right. All right. Okay, it says I'm live again. I am back. I cannot even tell you what happened. I don't have a clue. I have no idea what that was all about. Hello, Kisha. Thanks for hanging in there with me. I appreciate it. Hey, Margaret. Not sure what happened, ladies. I wish I could explain. Hello, Kathleen. I hope you're feeling better. Okay, hello again. Thanks for hanging in there with me. I am not sure what happened, ladies. I do think it was on my end. If that happens again, I will not come back on tonight. I will reschedule for tomorrow night, okay? It just gets too frustrating for me as well as for you. So hopefully we're going to be fine this time. We were just talking about the handmade ornaments. The class is coming up in November. Your deadline to sign up for these ornaments is next Wednesday night, November 5th, okay? And let me know if you need more info. I've got it over on my blog. You can email me. You can message me on Facebook and let me know which ornaments that you're interested in, okay? Okay, gosh, I was thirsty. All right, so why don't we get to the good stuff, okay? Again, I'll just mention one more time, if something should happen with the technology this evening, I will not come back on. I will come back on tomorrow evening, okay? All right. Kathleen, I believe you have paid, but I would have to check my roster. So, but I think you have. All right, everyone. Tonight is all about the Gingerbread Man bundle. And this right here is like an easel card. It's an easel treat holder. So it can sit on your desk, okay? And this little guy comes out, and I'll share with you later what I put inside, okay? Now, I've spent most of my day figuring out what all the dies do. So I am hoping that I can make this easier for you. The Gingerbread Man bundle is available in my online store, okay? So, are you ready to get to it? This little guy can sit right on the table. You could put Post-it notes in here if you want. I have put some candy in mine, but I'm going to share that with you in a little bit. Thank you, Linda. That is very sweet of you. Ladies, you're going to learn how to put one of these guys together tonight. Are you ready? How many of you have the bundle, but you haven't opened the package yet? How many of you are interested in the bundle, but you haven't purchased it yet? So again, I spent some time with the dies today and building some of these little candy pieces, building the gingerbread boy so that I can share that with you to make it easier for you when you open up your bundle, okay? All right. So the first thing that we're going to start with is the dies, all right? Here we go. Oh, I'm so glad you guys like it. Y'all already know I love gingerbread. Anything gingerbread, I love. Diane's got it in her cart. After tonight, Diane is going to buy it. Oh my gosh. Oh, Vicki, you can make this. You can. All right, here we go. Are y'all ready? I'm so glad you like him. By the way, we're working with Gingerbread tonight and next Wednesday night, okay? All righty. So what I'm going to do is I'm just moving things around, ladies. This is the Gingerbread Man stamp set, okay? So the artwork is at 80%. And so I'm going to pull it out so you can see how large the gingerbread boy is. We're not stamping him tonight. We will be stamping him next week. He is 3.5 inches by almost 5 inches, okay? So he's a pretty big guy. And these are gumdrops that you can stamp and cut out with the die. This here, this can be a face. It can also be buttons on him. Okay, so I'm going to go through all of this with you, but here are the 3 faces, all right, that you can have on your gingerbread boy. And these can either be buttons or they could be eyes as well. Let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 greetings. And then we've got some of this scroll work, which you'll want to put here because he's a cookie. And then we have this too. So there are 15 images that can be stamped, okay? All right, so now let us look at the dies. First of all, when the dies arrive, they are humongous. So what I've done is I have used Stampin' Storage's new magnet sheet along with the new envelope, okay? So this is the size of the plastic envelope, and these are the dies. So I'm going to try and show these to you, okay? All right. This was one of those sets that I knew I was going to have to cut out everything and kind of figure it out, okay? I'm not even sure where to start, but let's start with the gingerbread boy itself, okay? So here it is cut out, all right? And it will cut out too. Now, I'm going to put this back. We're going to go into detail on how to cut him out, the best way to do it, okay? All right. Now, we also have, let me get that out of the way. We also have 2 different, we have a scarf and we have a bow. You can also take the tails off, and it can be a bow tie. All right, so a scarf, a bow, or a bow tie. See, just the bow tie. You're gonna learn how to put this together tonight. We've got our buttons, and the buttons is this die right here, okay? It's this one right here that makes these 3 dots. Then we've got faces. So there's this face, and if you look at the mouth, it's kind of open. It's this one. And this face right here, it's got a little triangle there on the end, is this one. And then if I take out my little guy, you see this face here with these eyes? It is this one right here, okay? So I just want to be sure that you know what these are for, because when I opened my package, I had no idea what they were, okay? And we're going to also put a gingerbread boy together, so that's going to be very helpful for us. All right, then we have our hat. And so I cut out a hat in real red, and I cut out one in garden green. Now this rickrack, which is a sewing term, you can put across the hat and make it a decorative border. You can also use that very same rickrack, and you can add it to the arms and the legs. And I'm going to show you how to do that this evening as well, okay? You've got a coffee mug. This piece right here, I have no idea. So if you all have the Gingerbread Man bundle and you know what this is, please tell me, because I've been trying to figure that out all day. You get 2 gumdrops that you can stamp and cut out. And you're going to notice there are 2 sets of dies for the gumdrops. So you can stamp 2 images and they'll cut out separately. Okay? All right, so now let's go to the candy. Okay? All righty. So the candy piece is right here. All right, that's for cutting out your candy. So I cut one out in real red. I cut one out in garden green. And I cut one out in basic white. I'm going to zoom in just a little. Kisha, I think the same thing. I think it's icing drops, but I'm still having a hard time with figuring out what to do with that one. So that's kind of a learning curve for me right now. All right. This piece right here, okay? This piece is a lollipop. And then you have the peppermint. So when you cut that out, this is what you get. All right, so this is really important because we're going to be using this tonight. So you would have your sucker and then you would have the peppermint, and they cut out at the very same time. Now, this comes out in 2 separate pieces. So this is where you can put this here if you want and make your peppermint like that, okay? You can also do that if you like. So just giving you some other options with that. Mine already has adhesive on the back. I used an adhesive sheet, which we're going to talk about adhesive sheets tonight because I think it's really important with this particular die set. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I can put that piece of candy right there. So that's my candy. I can also put it right there, and it can be my lollipop. So lots of options here. And again, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to peel this off. Again, this has adhesive on the back. I used an adhesive sheet. I'm going to show you how to do that tonight. And if we want, by the way, this could go back in here if we wanted it to. I could put it here as well, which is what I'm going to do for this lollipop, okay? So just remember that this die right here has some wonderful options, and they get cut out at the same time, okay? All right. There is a die for this, and here it is, all right? So this can be cut out and you could put this here, all right? Or you could put it on your candy, okay? So that's another option for your candy and your lollipops. I'm gonna move that die. Let's talk about the candy cane, all right? I think it's one of the last. I think I've covered everything but the candy cane. When you cut out your candy cane, you're cutting out two at one time. You're cutting out your solid image, and then you want to cut out this image here. Now, if you're using real red cardstock, this entire thing is going to be in real red, okay? For example, if I take this die and I cut it out with real red cardstock, I am going to get the solid candy cane, and I am going to get the second candy cane, and then you just punch out the negative pieces, okay? Now what I want to show you is you can do it in red and then cut it again in white, and you can layer these, okay? And make your candy cane look really, really cool. So here is another one. Here's another candy cane. The background is garden green and the top is the white part. Here is another lollipop right here that I created, and I put a peppermint on that one. By the way, this is a word bubble, and the greeting, you've got two greetings that are gonna work for you. Oh snap, that you can stamp that in this bubble, and seasons eatings in this bubble, okay? Any questions for me? I love y'all's ideas. Maybe it is whipped cream. Maybe I would put that behind the coffee mug. That is a possibility. So just wanted to give you, you know, I opened up my package today and I'm like, wow, what are these things and how do I use them? And so I spent probably an hour and a half getting this ready so that you would have an idea of what this bundle looks like. Okay, so if you've been on the fence with this bundle, I think you're going to be real happy with it. It's item number 165785, and it's $54 for the bundle in English. All right, so let me know if there are any questions. If I remember, and I'm really going to try to remember this, I am going to leave you all a link for these clear envelopes as well as the magnet sheets. They're from Stampin' Storage, and these are larger than normal dies for us, okay? So anyway, I'll try and link that for you. All right, anything else? Okay, so the next thing is, let's see, what do I want to do with y'all next? Let's talk adhesive sheets, because there are a lot of tiny pieces and it's hard to glue them. So adhesive is going to work very well with this, okay? So I'm going to show you my paper trimmer. I'm going to bring that in. And we are going to need a sheet of cardstock. I'm going to be putting adhesive on the back of this. This cardstock is 8.5 by 11 inches. I have it on the 11-inch side, and I'm going to cut the paper in half, just like I'm making a card base. And now I've got two pieces, and one of the pieces I'm going to add adhesive to. Now let's bring in one of our adhesive sheets. The item number here is 152334, okay? All right. So a full sheet is 6 inches by 12 inches. And my cardstock right here is 5.5 inches. So I'm going to go over to that 5.5 inch mark, but I'm going to back up maybe 2 lines. So I'm really going to cut this at 4 7/8. So I will show you that. This is 5.5 right here, and I'm going to cut it at 4 7/8. So I just backed up 2 lines, and I'm going to give it a trim. All right, now my cardstock is 8.5 inches long. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna go over to 8.5 inches, and I'm gonna back up 2 lines, which is 7 7/8. And then this is my adhesive piece, okay? Now on one side of the adhesive, you're going to have breaks in the paper. And I think this is, let's see. Yep, I think this is the right, yeah, that's the right side. So I've got 3 breaks in this paper. So I'm gonna peel them off. It doesn't matter which section you peel off first. I got 1 more to go. It gets real sticky, okay? All right, then I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna add this to my cardstock, okay? I'm gonna flip it over, and now I am ready to cut using the dies, okay? So if I were to use this, or something like this, or the eyes and the mouth, even the bows, I would definitely use your sheet of cardstock that has adhesive on the back. Now, something very helpful for you to do. Before you get started with your gingerbread, go ahead and cut one of these for basic white. Cut another one for garden green. Cut another one for pecan pie, okay? You probably don't have to do pecan pie, but if you're using real red and garden green, go ahead and make yourself an adhesive sheet for each of these colors, okay? So that is like a huge tip, okay, that I am giving you right there. All right, now let's talk about our gingerbread boy. He's next, and we're gonna wanna talk about how to cut him. All right. So to cut this little guy, you're basically cutting a card base, okay? So this is 8.5 by 11 inches. That's the size of the paper. And I'm gonna cut it on the 11-inch side at 5.5 inches. When I do that, I have 2 card bases. Now, another thing you can do is go ahead and score this, okay? So you're gonna wanna score it at 4 1/4 inches. Okay? Now I really have a card base because I've taken the time to score it in the middle. Now I want to show you how to position the dies. You're going to be laying your gingerbread boys on your cardstock, and where their hands are connected, that is where the score line is. So let me zoom in a little bit. All right, so here's that score line, and that is where I have placed the center of the die. And then you're gonna roll that through your Stampin' Cut emboss machine. And when you do, you're going to have this, okay? So that's another really great tip for you. Keep that in mind as you're making your gingerbread boys, okay? Now let me check my list because I had a bunch of things to tell you tonight. The next thing that I want to share with you is I'm bringing this back in, and I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. Before creating your projects, before creating your cards, go ahead and cut a lot of candy, cut some hats, cut some scarves and bows, cut some candy canes. Just do them in real red, garden green, and basic white. And that way, when you go to create a 3D project or a card, you've got these pre-cut pieces. And it's going to save you a lot of time, okay? All right, I'll scoot that down a little bit. Any questions regarding that? All right. So those were some of the big tips that I learned today in creating this treat holder. All right. And Kathleen is asking me how my hand is doing. It's doing fine. It's been in this brace for 2 weeks. I have at least 2 more weeks to go, Kathleen. I hope it's healing. I have to be very patient with myself, and it can be a little bit frustrating because it slows me down, and I don't like that, which I'm sure you can imagine. Okay, so the first thing let's do tonight, let's design our little gingerbread boy, and then we're gonna make the treat holder together, okay? So here he is. I'm gonna bring him in here now. All right, and I can go ahead and zoom in a little bit. And I'll bring my grid paper over here too. And there's my email address in case you need to email me regarding your ornaments. All right, so once you fold over your gingerbread boy, you may want to use your bone folder just to give him a nice little burnish there, okay? All right. So let's see, what do we want to do first? Why don't we start with the hat, okay? As you can see, I've already taken lots of pieces. I've already die cut these to save us a bit of time. I'm going to bring in the hat. And this is a hat where I only die cut the brim of the hat. All right, so let me show you the hat. And here it is. And this is my basic white paper that has adhesive on the back. I only need this part of the hat, the brim. And so this is where I would lay the brim on the cardstock, run that through the machine, and something like this would come out, okay? I don't need the entire hat in white, so I am not going to use it. Now, I could have done the entire hat in basic white and then cut this little piece, and he could have had a little white pom-pom at the top of his hat. So that would have been cute. But that's how I cut that. And then what I'll do is I will take my scissors and cut the rest off because I don't need that little part. And then I just have to lift this up. That's the adhesive paper coming off. And then this will get added to the hat. All right, does everybody understand that? We're gonna pop this little guy up and we'll use, I could probably use big or standard minis, but I'll use these. These are the minis. And we can put his hat straight on, or we can kind of curve it a little, and I'm just going to give it a little curve, okay? Now, the next thing is, let's go ahead and let's get the piping or the rickrack. Piping is a cookie decorating term, and rickrack is a sewing term. You're gonna need 2 of these in order to decorate him, okay? Now, you can have the mountains, or you can do it that maybe that's the mountains, and this, I guess, is the valleys here. But what we're gonna do is, you can do it in either direction, okay? There's no right or wrong. I'm gonna trim that. And then I am going to poke this. I know this is really hard. Let me put that there, and I think you can see this better. This is probably, well, the face is going to be the hardest thing we do tonight because it's hard to get the eyes and the mouth on. All right, and we'll put that about right there. And it looks like I could still trim a little bit. So we'll do that. Then you can take this part and it can be on his hand. So one of these is great for hand and the other is great for the leg. So I'm gonna do this one too. This one you're not gonna see very much, but we're gonna do it anyway. And these little things, oh my gosh, they can be tedious. All right, we'll put that one about there. We're gonna go ahead this time. I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna peel the paper off the entire piece before trimming it, okay? And I think this might work out better. All right, and then we'll put this one here. And then what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna trim. This works out a little bit easier than the first way we were doing it. Also, with the adhesive sheets, it's very forgiving. So if you need to pick it up, you should be able to do that without any problem, okay? The next thing we'll work on will be his bow tie. Actually, it's gonna be a bow. And I'm gonna get all the little pieces that I need. And here they are. Believe it or not, it is 3 pieces for this bow. So when you cut out the bow, you're going to get the bow, you're going to get the tails, and then you're going to get a center, okay? So 3 things are coming out of that one die. And a couple of ways to do this. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue there. And by the way, I wouldn't recommend doing this on top of your gingerbread boy. Mine just ended that way. Then we're going to add that. All right. So we'll let that dry for just a second. Now, that center piece goes right here in the middle. We're going to end up putting a peppermint there, so we really don't need it, but we'll do that anyway, okay? All right, we're giving that just a couple of seconds to be dry. Let me know if y'all have any questions for me. All right, we're actually going to pop it up. And I'm not seeing comments, so I hope y'all are just taking notes and getting ideas for your little gingerbread. We're going to put that there. I like to go ahead and put the scarf or the bow around the neck because that's going to give me an idea of how much space I have for eyes and a mouth. It's going to also let me know how much space do I have down here where the buttons go. So let's go ahead and let's get our peppermints out. By the way, these are still available in my online store. They are not in low inventory. So they are available. And you can use the white circles that come with it. It would be this one here with the 3 circles, I believe. But instead of using that for buttons, I really like the peppermints for it. Notice how I'm saving the face for last. Wonder why. Maybe because it's a tough one. All right, we're going to add a coffee cup in garden green. And we'll put that about right there so we can see a little bit of the icing. I had some other dots. Hang on. What did I do with them? I had some peppermints that had smaller ones on here. And did I put them on my tray? Here they are. I did put them on my tray. Okay, there we go. So here I can actually use a smaller peppermint for that. And now we'll put a peppermint here. Okay? So now it's time to do the eyes and the nose. All right? All right, this is really, really tricky. We're going to use, I believe, no, we're going to use the same face we used before. There's one eye. There's the second eye. And I don't see the mouth, but I think I've got a mouth in my other stash over here. All right, so we'll worry about the mouth in a minute. This does have adhesive on the back. And boy, can it be difficult to get it off. It is so tiny, and I'm pretty positive I'm on the correct side. So give me just a few minutes. All I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to pull off the adhesive. Whew, that one's tough. All right. Let's see here. Let's get it off the gingerbread boy. I'm going to put it on here so that you all can see it. All right. This is probably the hardest thing we'll do tonight. All right. So we've got one eye. So let's go ahead and we'll put it right there. Okay, here's that other eye. And this one, I might have to dig for another one here. I don't know how well. All right, how well that one's going to turn out, but I think we got it. Now we need a mouth, and these are extra pieces that I cut today. And so I just have to sift through here and find another one. But again, before I started creating projects today, I decided to cut pieces. So I wouldn't have to stop and cut, stop and cut. All right, and believe it or not, y'all, I do see a mouth in here for this guy. There it is. Get rid of these. Okay, this one's going to even be trickier. So you could probably take a white gel pen and even draw his face on if you want. But I'm just showing you how to do it. I need to flip this over to see. Okay, so I think this is a tough one. And I have one good hand, so here goes. Oh boy. Okay, I got it, believe it or not, but I don't know. All right. And then, you really got a close-up of my hands. And then we made it. Woo! That was tough, but we did it. Are we missing anything? We're going to put another peppermint up here. And there we go. And you'll see this side of his arm is a little chopped off, but it's gonna work great when we make the treat holder, okay? So don't worry about that. It's still gonna be super cute, okay? All right. So now we're ready to make the holder, and I'm gonna bring this in so that you can see the front of it. I'm just gonna grab a sip of water. Okay. We're going to set this little guy aside and use him later. And we are going to start with pecan pie. I'll put that right there. Pecan pie cardstock. All right. This will actually make 2 of these treat holders. Okay. At least the base of it. Alrighty, so let's do 4 1/4. This is on the 8.5 inch side, okay? This is the 8.5 inch side of the cardstock, and we're gonna trim it in half, all right? So you could easily have 2 of these. We're gonna rotate it to the 11 inch side, and we're gonna score at 5.5. Okay? We score at 5.5, and then we fold it. So this is your very first piece, okay? All right. Let's see, let's do on the next piece. This is actually 4 1/4 by 5.5. So you could actually take, remember this piece that was left over right here? Why not take this? We already know it's 4 1/4. Let's cut it at 5.5. That's going to give us 2 equal pieces. You only need 1 for this project. We're going to be using Forever Plaid. Yes, there's a bit of embossing in this project. You're going to put 1 in here. Why not make 2 while you're doing it, right? So go on, get 2 in here, just like this. You're going to run this through your Stampin' Cut emboss machine, okay? And when it comes out, you're going to have this look right here, okay? So it's called Forever Plaid, and it's 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. All right, so that's your second piece. All righty. This is our pockets, okay? So this right here is a pocket where you put treats in. See the pocket? So this is a little more detailed. So it is 4 inches by 6¼ inches. You will score at a 1/2 inch. Let's see, score on the, I don't want to confuse y'all, so I'm going to do this real quick with you, okay? All right, so this is your 6¼ inch side. You would score at a 1/2 inch. You score at 1 inch. Sorry, you cannot even see the measurements. 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 5¼ inches is another score line. And then 5¾ is the last score line. Then you rotate this to your 4 inch side and you score at a 1/2 inch and 1 inch. All right. Now, of course, I will have all of these measurements over on my blog, but if you would like a screenshot of this, go right ahead. All right, our last piece, and this is actually the easel, okay? That's what we're cutting and scoring now. And I like to call it an easel stand. 4 inches by 4¼ inches. Score along the 4 inch side. Now that's 4¼ so we've got to score this way. Okay. So we're on the 4 inch side and we're going to score at a 1/2 inch and then 2 inches and then 3½ inches. All right, and this is what this will end up looking like. Okay, and again, I will have all the measurements for this as well. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and let's start with, I really don't know where to start first. Let's start with the pocket, okay? You're gonna need 2 additional pieces to dress up your pocket. This is the pocket, and we're going to add the garden green and the DSP. So the garden green is measuring 4 inches by 2¾ inches. The designer paper is measuring 3¾ inches by 2½ inches. And I want to show you where the designer paper is from. It is from Christmas Tags and More. My bag split today. So I'll show you, this is one of the papers in the package. It comes 6 by 6. Here is another one. Again, it comes 6 by 6. Another piece. Then you have a lighter crumb cake there. And I think there's one more. Let's see. There's this piece, or did I showed you that piece. And then you get all these amazing die cuts, okay, that come with it. And I'm sorry for the mess. My bag split this afternoon. So anyway, you get all these little die cut pieces to go along with it. If you're taking my Festive Friends ornament class, you're gonna get a full package of this paper. This paper's on back order till November 17th, but I was able to snag some when it was in low inventory. So don't worry, if you're taking the Festive Friends mini ornament class, you get a full package of this. All right, so what we'll go ahead and do is let's add our DSP to our cardstock. And I'm just gonna fill in here. I know I'm gonna have about 1/4 inch going all the way around. Thank you all for sticking with me tonight to do this. I hope you're enjoying it and I hope you'll find it useful. All right. So I just centered that. Now, you're going to notice, and I forgot to put a cut line right there. Let me put a cut line on that. You're going to notice that I have already cut out some of these pieces. Hang on. I am just folding all my score lines, okay? But after scoring, you will end up cutting some of it. So it will end up looking like this. You will cut here and here and then cut one square here. One of these squares gets cut and then the two squares on the end gets cut, okay? All right, so what we're gonna do is, and in order for me to see this really well, I kind of like to get rid of the sides of the box, and then I like to go ahead and get this centered because I can just see it better. If I have it laying flat out, it can be really hard to see where the score lines are. Okay, so again, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to add some Tombow liquid glue right in that area. This is the front of the pocket. All right, and if I were to fold this back, now you can see that this is the panel, okay? I've got some wiggle room, which is really, really nice to have, okay? All right. Now, I think what we can do next is, let's go ahead and add our ribbon, all right? Now this ribbon, I honestly don't even know how long it is. That is 8 inches. Hang on, let me measure this real quick. Give you an idea. This 8 inches I'm using, now I'm at 16 inches, 24 inches, and 24 and 8 is 32, about 32 inches. This is really long. You're not going to need it this long, but this I had pre-cut from something else. So anyway, that's why I just want to use this and get rid of it. Okay. All right. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and we're going to just peel off the tape here. I know it is a bit premature, but I need to get this ribbon wrapped around here, okay? Around this pocket before we add it to the base. Alrighty. So what I'm doing is, okay, I feel like all y'all can really see is this brace, you know, I just feel so cumbersome, so hang tight. All right, you see what we're doing here? We're tucking in the flap. Okay, tucking in the flap, and that had tearing tape on it. Okay, all right, so now that part is done, and this part, I'm just gonna bring that up. And I'm going to bring that up. Okay, so now I've created the pocket. All right, I'm going to bring in my silicone here, or silicone mat, and I can put this under it, and I'm just going to wrap it around the middle. And you know what? I will give y'all, let me give you a better idea of how much ribbon used, okay? It's more like this. So I will count that for you real quick, just so you know. I am using, all right, that's 8, 16, okay, 24 inches. All right, 24 will be enough. Okay, so this ribbon has a shiny side and it has a more satin side. So it does have, it's two-toned. It's got two different finishes. All right. So I'm trying to keep it on the shiny side, but it can be really hard when you're, you know, tying a bow. If you don't like bows, you don't have to have the ribbon. And you can also tie a knot if you want, and then you'll use less ribbon. Now, if you're in my virtual club, you've got some of this. All right. I believe it came with this month's projects, if I'm correct. Okay, so there we go. That is going to be our little ribbon on the side. And there we go there. Let me trim this a little bit better. Okay. All right. And so the next thing is to stamp our little everyday arch die, okay? These are the everyday arches. These are very popular, and I think they're on back order right now. That one is too big, so I think it's this one. No. It's this one. So it is going to be number 3 from smallest to largest, okay? Number 3, your third die. And then we're actually going to use one of the greetings from this stamp set. And we're using Garden Green ink. You can use Garden Green. You can use Real Red. Either one will work perfectly. And you're going to squeeze in that greeting right in the center. See, I can still stamp. Even though I can hardly move my hand, I can still stamp. All right, so let's go ahead. We're going to add some dimensionals to the back. And I'm going to put them on the side, just like that. All right. Bobby, welcome from the Outer Banks. We're happy to have you. I know you're on a crafting vacation, so that is awesome. All right, see how I've done that? Okay. All right. I think I need another dimensional. Hang on. That last dimensional is hanging on to the ribbon and not the box, and I really want it on the box. Okay, good. We got it. All right, are we ready? Now, we can go ahead and add our candy. Let's just go on and do that. We have a green candy and a red candy. And these already have the adhesive sheet on the back. Much easier to pull off than it is the eyes and the mouth. That's so hard. Trying to just lift up on that adhesive. And then we're going to be doing a sucker. And this time I elected to just add that. All right. Okay, I am looking for some peppermints. Gosh, okay, I think I have medium. sometimes the peppermints do not want to come up with my take your pick tool. Kind of frustrating. Okay, and then we're gonna add some here. I'm doing better with the point than I was with the other side. All right. And I think these are my only sizes left. Okay, so I think we're gonna use minis. Y'all are very quiet tonight. All right, where is my minis? Right here. And I'm gonna put one on the back at the top, and then I can put this one right there, okay? The reason I'm putting a dimensional in one location is I want it to be the same height as this arch die cut, okay? And I think I can zoom in just a little bit for y'all. And then we need to do the same here. We've got one at the very top, and we will put this one about right there. Okay, so it really helps to have these pieces already die cut for you. All right, it'll make such a big difference. I promise it will. All right, we're gonna bring in this piece right here. It's 4 1/4 by 11 inches, okay? We're getting there. We are almost there. This is how it opens, and this is where I want the pocket to be, at the bottom of where it opens. Now, something I'm going to do is I'm gonna add, I did this earlier today, I'm gonna add 2 glue dots. I'm going to add one here. All right. Okay, I think I got it. And then I'm just gonna open this up. Okay, this is the front, and I'm just opening up that card base, and then I am going to lay this right on top. All right, I'm gonna take my bone folder, and I am going to burnish this, rub it in so it stays there, okay? Now, I'm gonna fix this a little bit. Hang tight. I wanna make sure it's nice and even on both sides. Does that make sense? We're almost there, girls. We've got it. Okay? Now, we're gonna fold this over just like this, and we're going to add, what did I do with it? We are going to add this embossed piece, 4 1/4 inches by 5 1/2. I'm gonna slide it in here to just kind of finish it off and make it pretty, okay? All right, let's see. And I even get a choice as to which side I want to use. I'm sure you can, I might have done Tombow liquid glue on this earlier today. We're gonna slide it in. We're just finishing off the inside. We're making it look pretty. And so that's why it's getting the embossed part, okay? All right, now let's add the stand, and then we are going to fill it, okay? This is the stand, 4 inches by 4¼ inches. And we actually want to put tear and tape, let's see, here. I will bring this in closer so you can see it. This is kind of like the easel that we always make for our calendar. Gosh, that'll be coming up before we know it. All right, so that's what we have. All right. Now what we want to do is we want this to be like this. So it's a W, okay? And then we are going to take this side and we are going to tape it. Lots of ways to show you how to add this part, but let's do this. You're just gonna add it along the edge, okay? That comes up, and then we're gonna add the back. So this little treat holder stands up. So this could be something that you might want to give your co-workers. All right. And then that closes. Let's go ahead and get that bone folder in there. Okay. So this is what we have. That is what that looks like. And now what I'm going to do is I had used these gingerbread Kit Kats, but you can't see them very well when they're in the pocket. I am not using two-tone cardstock, Kathleen. That is a great question. I am not using it, just so you know. I am using regular cardstock. All right, so as you can see right here, I'm just trying to stuff some little goodies. Just stuff some shreddy in here so that it takes up some of the space and that I can see my candies sticking out a little bit. Okay? Now you don't have to use the shreddy. I did not use the shreddy the first time I made this. Just trying to get these just right. All right, so there's my Kit Kats. And then this little guy, he really is a card, okay? And I'm just gonna stick him right there, all right? Now, if you wanted to make this a card, you could cut one of these in basic white and then put it inside here. But he can go just like that. And now we have our little Kit Kat gingerbread bars. We did it. We got through it, didn't we? So there is our little sugar and spice and everything nice holder, treat holder. All right. All right. Do y'all have any questions for me? I promise that I will get this on my blog along with measurements and along with the supply list, okay? I'm so glad y'all like it. I can't wait to get pictures of it tomorrow. The gingerbread guy is so darn cute, isn't he? He's just adorable. So I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. I will be back next Wednesday night. This is a reminder to please, please, please get signed up for the ornament class. 1 week until registration closes. Let me know if you need additional information and I'll send it on to you. I'm glad you all like the project and I hope that my explanation of the dies helped you. as you get ready to create with your gingerbread man bundle. All right. So have a great evening, everyone, and I'll see you next Wednesday. Take care. Bye.